Even though Jay-Z has the longest rap career in hip-hop history, what might surprise you is that originally he had a different path in mind. Jay-Z's debut album Reasonable Doubt was meant to be his first and last album, after which he would walk away forever. And it's no surprise why when you hear how hard it was to put this album out and how almost nobody believed in him.
I don't think everyone really understood it or got the emotion behind what was being said in the beginning.
Jay was a very cultural rapper, so you know the things he rapped about and the songs that he made that kept his underground credibility, they didn't get played too much.
Jay-Z and his team faced countless rejection, so they eventually decided to start their own label and release the album themselves.
I'm not really with that mainstream thing. You know, as you see, we went and we made our own company, Rockefeller Records. You know, we stepped away from the industry. You know, we don't depend on the industry for nothing. If you don't play my stuff on the radio, it's gonna be heard.
But Jay would need help to do this, so he enlisted his team of producers to help him make this now legendary album possible.
These guys, it wasn't just a collaboration, it was a relationship also. So they kind of knew who I was, and they knew where I was coming from. So these beats wasn't just beats that they just made for anybody. You know, they was almost tailor-made, like, you know, with the person in mind.
So today, let's talk about the stories behind how this album was made, how these producers helped Jay make this legendary album, and why Jay-Z eventually decided to not quit rapping. Now, the producer you just saw in that last piece of footage is Ski Beats, and even though he wasn't the biggest producer to appear on this album at the time, he might be the most important.
Ski was a major part of Reasonable Doubt, you know, so being he was already around Jay with the original flavor, so once his section of the album was placed, he to me is the root of it. I was the icing, pretty much.
Ski is responsible for producing many songs on this album, including what might be my favorite Jay-Z song of all time, Dead Presidents.
Got the city drinking crystals, we up the feet. Rappers going broke, trying to keep up with me.
Amazing song with an amazing beat, and according to Ski, it was another New York rapper that influenced the making of this song.
Nas had just dropped Illmatic, and everybody was out there playing Nas' album. You would be on the strip, and every car was going by playing, Whose World Is This? And I'm like, yo, this song is crazy.
Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? The world is yours.
So I just kept listening to the record, and I said, damn, when I get home, I want to find something that's kind of similar to that vibe.
So long ago, before their feud, it was Nas who influenced the creation of this beat. After hearing what Pete Rock did on Nas's beat, Ski goes home and digs up this sample here.
And when I heard that right there, it just had the emotions, man, that I wanted.
And he uses it to make this iconic beat. Let's break down how this was made. Nowadays, when you use samples, it's far easier to manipulate them. You can stretch samples to slow them down or speed them up without affecting their pitch, and you can pitch samples up and down without affecting their speed. But back in the days, this technology just wasn't where it is today. So let me show you what would commonly happen whenever producers would sample a song. First, they'd find the piece that they'd want to use. As you can hear, the sample is far slower than what it is in the final song. So Ski takes this piece here from the sample and then he shrinks it down so it fits into 4 bars. And when he does this, you can hear the pitch of the sample goes way up. For the drums in this beat, he actually takes them from another song, A Tribe Called Quest remix. So after getting the sample and the drums in place, he takes the beat a step further and does a really useful technique to make the beat more dynamic. He creates 2 layers of the same sample, one of which has only the low frequencies, and he does this by using a filter. And he does the opposite for the second layer. This allows them to make the beat more interesting by either having both layers playing at the same time or just one or the other throughout the entire beat. An amazing song here, instant classic. In fact, it's what led Jay-Z to catch the attention of another New York rapper, Notorious B.I.G. Clark Kent, another producer on this album, was friends with Big at the time, and he would play dead presidents for him all the time, telling Big that Jay raps better than him, which is pretty hilarious. But regardless of whether Big agreed, he at least recognized that Jay-Z was talented, which is why Biggie shows up in the video shoot for Dead Presidents. And also why they did a song together on Reasonable Doubt, Brooklyn's Finest.
The paramedics breathing soft on them. What's your name? Who shot your mom?
So the story goes that this was accidentally played for Big at first and Big really wanted it. But Clark Kent, producer of this beat, tells him that he can't have it and it's for Jay-Z. Big says he doesn't care, he just wants to be on the beat, so Clark Kent invites him to come record with Jay. But this was met with some friction. Originally, Dame Dash, a partner in Rockefeller, was against this idea.
And Dame was like, nah, fuck that, we ain't giving Puff no money. And I was just like,
What?
But even after hearing no, Clark Kent brings Big into the studio. Big and Jay immediately become friends, and he plays him this song. Jay already has his verses done, but Big doesn't do his right away. Instead, he takes a while.
2 months later is when he comes and does his verses.
2 months? 2 months?
Yes, because we was on the road back and forth or whatever.
Right.
2 months later, he goes in the booth and does what he does the night before mastering.
And that's how we finally get Brooklyn's Finest. So the way this beat was made was similar to Dead Presidents. Here is the sample that was used. This time the sample is actually a bit slower than the beat, so once it gets stretched out, it actually gets slowed down and pitched down. And what's unique about this is it's actually a 5-bar loop, as you can see here. From here, drums get added and we have ourselves the beat to Brooklyn's Finest. By the way, random fun fact out of nowhere, I didn't know this, but Reasonable Doubt wasn't the original title for this album.
Originally, the album was called Heir to the Throne, and then from there it switched to Reasonable Doubt the following day.
How wacky. Now, another one of my favorite songs on this album is the opening track, Can't Knock the Hustle, which has one of the smoothest beats ever.
Yo, I'm making short-term goals when the weather falls. Just put away the leathers and put ice on the gold.
The story behind this beat really embodies what I feel Reasonable Doubt is all about. The way they made this album was so scrappy, they were paying people with shoebox money, and the producer of Can't Knock the Hustle, Nobody, made this beat in his mom's house. Really makes you rethink the whole idea of needing fancy high-tech equipment in a decked-out studio just to make beats. By the way, this is as good as time as any to mention that if you're looking for some free beat-making training, check out my 30-minute beat-making masterclass. If you're struggling with your beats, I show you what's most likely the reason why, and all of this works even if you're making beats out of your own bedroom. Link is in the description box below. But here, let's break this beat down. This is the sample that was used.
You're always on my mind.
This is the part of the sample that gets used here. And again, it gets squeezed down, bringing its speed and pitch up. But the problem with this sample is that the drums and the instrumentation in it really have this strong 80s digital aesthetic, which is partly why 80s samples get used less often compared to their 70s counterpart for boom bap. So filtering really helps this beat come together. Not only does it open up space for Jay, but it also allows Nobody to change the aesthetic of the beat as well. Then we bring in the drums. In my opinion, it's one of the best opening songs to any album, and here is Nobody's explanation for why he believes this song works so well.
Here's another way of looking at it. Drums hard,
That's the
music
cake.
smooth.
That's the frosting.
Jay-Z, hustling, street hard, Mary J. Blige, smooth.
But let's stop talking about what my favorites are and talk about Jay-Z. What is his favorite song on this album?
This is one of my favorite songs ever. If not my favorite.
Shit is wicked on these mean streets. None of my friends speak. We all trying to win. Then again, maybe it's for the best though. Cause when they seeing too much, you know they trying to get you touched.
It's The Evils, and here's DJ Premier talking about his approach to making this beat.
So the only thing to make it really well-rounded is to make sure that the drums are smacking. I'm really into drums, so the boom and the bap have to go along with it, and they just all, you know, went on a date and it was a marriage, you know, and The Evils was born.
So let's start off with the sample that was used here.
Where is the love that I miss so much?
And once again, the sample gets shrunk down. And we have two different ways the sample is actually used. We have what you just heard, but there's another version for the actual verse section, where the end piece gets cut off and we repeat this quieter part. This is a smart production choice by DJ Premier since this opens up the beat a little bit more for actual rapping. Next, we have those classic hard-hitting DJ Premier drums, some bass, and that's that. And so with all those beats, Reasonable Doubt was born. Now earlier I mentioned Jay-Z's original plan was to drop the album and then leave rap behind. So why did he decide to continue? Allegedly, his original plan was to go behind the scenes and become Rockefeller's president and be a label exec with the help of Def Jam. But part of Def Jam's agreement to do this was that first he'd have to create another album. Jay-Z decides to give them two, and my assumption is that he didn't foresee just how successful those albums would become. Especially Volume 2, which is to date still his highest grossing album. And so after this, Jay-Z decides to continue making music, lots more albums, lots more songs, and lots more beats. In fact, in another video, I talk about how Jay-Z has rejected some of the most insane beats throughout his career, so check that video out if you haven't already, it's right next to me. But yeah, this is how Reasonable Doubt was made. So leave a comment, let me know what your favorite song is off this album, like and subscribe. Watch the video next to me if you haven't already, and otherwise, I will see you next week. Bye bye.